Ladies, it's Dannii and I'm coming at you again with another Dannii's Details, just pulling up my information for you. So today, based on your guys' votes, I am going to go through strength training, the definition of strength training, and how we know we've worked hard enough. Now, there's not as much to cover this week, so hopefully we should get through this a bit quicker than I did on my last couple of videos, and hopefully I'll be able to go through it all in a digestible way, and it will help you guys know that you are working hard enough, whether that's on the circuit or at home with our at-home workouts. So I'm going to cover both. So let's start with the definition. Now for the definition, I have sort of got three different ones because they all describe it in a slightly different way, but they all complement each other. So I thought it would be the best way to really understand fully what strength training is about and what it is that we sort of need to do, etc. So first one I've got, strength training is a period of training in which high levels of volume or weight resistance with minimal rest periods resulting in muscular hypertrophy. Okay, so that's the first one. Second one, it is a type of physical exercise specialising in the use of resistance to induce muscular contraction, which builds the strength, anaerobic endurance and size of skeletal muscles. Again, a great description there. And then the last one is taken from our own Curves booklet, so that little one that hopefully you guys, which that's the front, have been able to get hold of, and that is true strength training requires that you move a resistance that is greater than the muscle is accustomed to moving. So we've gone through that before. Progressive resistance stimulates the muscles to stay strong and firm. So as I say, we have gone through that we are aiming to work our muscles beyond what they're used to, and that literally just tells you that that is what we're aiming for. That's the goal. That's what we need to do for strength training. So those three combined really do cover what strength training is and what it requires us to do in order to benefit from it. So I'm going to go through how we know we've worked hard enough. It's a big question, and I think it's a good one for us to know. So personally, I know when I've worked hard enough. I'm sure you guys can tell from the videos that when I've worked hard enough, but it's sometimes difficult for you guys to feel it. You can see how hard I'm working, but maybe you don't understand how I'm feeling it and things like that. So I'm going to go through as much as I possibly can, describe it as best I possibly can, and hopefully that will help you know that you are working hard enough, okay? And I'm going to sort of cover how you know you've worked hard enough on the circuit and with our at-home workouts, because both pretty much are the same, but then there's a slight difference between the two required for you to feel it, to make sure you're feeling it. And when I go through it, it will become apparent what that difference is. So let's, as I say, start with the circuit. So our machines are designed to adapt as you grow stronger. So that's the purpose. That's why they're designed like that. They are going to build as you build, basically. So the idea to make our machines harder is the harder and quicker you move on our double positive machine. So that is like the hip abductor, the bicep tricep, the shoulder press, chest back, ab back, leg curl. I think I've covered them all there. It provides measurable increased resistance. So going faster, pushing harder, you'll feel a harder resistance coming back from the machines. The faster you move on these double positive machines, the harder it becomes, as I say, because the cylinders are designed to do that. That's how they are designed. They are made so that the harder you try and push them, the harder they will resist you. And this ultimately ensures that you are overloading your muscles to achieve the most benefit. Great, brilliant. That's what we're aiming for. That's what we want. Strength training, boom. However, there is a big however. If your alignment and your technique is wrong or even slightly off, and you just focus purely on just trying to go quick to make it harder, then you will not feel the benefits in those muscle groups. You will not allow them to have chance to properly work and properly overload, because you're just focusing on speed. And to focus just on speed means that you might start using muscles that you're not supposed to be using. So big one, very obvious one, is the shoulder press. That one is a really, I guess, one of the easier machines to sort of mess up the alignment and get it wrong. So there is a reason why we tell you to keep those elbows in, keep them in alignment with your hands on the handles, that they don't come in, that they don't go out, that they are completely in alignment. And that is because if we start doing this, the muscles we're going to start using are biceps as opposed to the deltoids on the way up. On the way down, you might start feeling it here and your biceps again, instead of feeling it in your latissimus dorsi. So yes, it's all well and good doing this, but you're not feeling the right muscles. You need to focus on those muscles. So you contracting those muscles, as I mentioned before in another video, is going to help you with that, because then you'll know, right, okay, shoulder press, I need to feel my deltoids. So I'm going to slightly contract them and then I'm going to push through. Oh, okay, I understand how I now push through that muscle. Lats, okay, big wing muscles in the back, going to sort of contract them, pull through those. I get it, I know how to do that. So it's all about you making sure your alignment's perfect, making sure your technique is perfect, and then you are going to allow those muscles to have the chance to build, to overload, to work. And this is essentially what we're aiming for, and this is why your coaches are there to help point out where you should be feeling the machines. We try and help you with alignment, making sure, even if it's, like I say, the slightest movement can definitely help. So again, shoulder press, if you're literally just like sort of this, you feel like, oh, I'm in line. Actually, no, I need to come in just that like half an inch. And now that makes all the difference. So it's about allowing yourself time to feel the muscle group. Right, I need to learn how to get this deltoid. I need to focus on it. How can I make it work? Just keep the bicep nice and relaxed. Okay, I can do this. And then you just push up through it. It's going to require a lot of focus, and hopefully from doing our at-home workouts, that's enabled you to build on that, to build that ability to contract those muscle groups that we need to work. I just need to find where I left off now. So yeah, so once everything is correct, so your alignment, your technique and the speed, it's a good balance of all of them. What will happen is the muscle that's contracting, it will start to feel like it's getting weaker, like it's getting a bit jellified. And that's good, because that means we are working that muscle to the overload, to beyond where it's accustomed to. It's getting tired, your muscle is getting tired, and that is the point. It's 30 seconds, it's not an extensive time, long length of time. It's not too long to be able to push your muscles and it be a danger. It is plenty of time to really get them worked and really feel them, and as I say, not run the risk of injury, providing your alignment and everything's spot on. So it's really, really good if you start feeling like that. If you start suddenly slowing down, you really feel like you're pushing, you're putting everything into it, but you're still slowing down. Again, that's fine, because as long as you keep trying, those muscles are going to benefit. This is what we want, and this is what we're aiming for. And the metabolic conditioning stations, so the boards in between, are there to allow those muscles to then have that moment of that they've just been worked, but to also allow you to keep your heart rate going for your workout, so keeping it at that workout level that we need it to be at. So that's essentially how we know we're working hard enough on the machines, that when you're on that machine and we tell you where you should be feeling it, that area should be starting to feel tired, a bit weaker towards the end of that 30 seconds, and then we know we are working them to beyond what they're accustomed to. That's great. So moving on to our at-home workout. So as I say, these are pretty much similar. They're very, very similar, but there is a difference. So because there is a lack of machines, it can make your alignment and stuff a little bit harder to sort of get right. So alignment and muscle contraction does become a lot more important. So it's the same as the machines really, but the machines at least offer some level of you knowing where you should be positioned, whereas without that, and you're just left to your own devices, it can be a little bit harder. So alignment, so focusing on what we're doing, listening to what we're telling you is very, very important to make sure the alignment's okay, to then feel the muscles that we should be working. Again, with that muscle contraction as well, we need to make sure that we're contracting them to make sure we are feeling the right muscles that we should be feeling for those moves that we do. So as I say, you really do have to focus on the muscle groups. You really need to ensure that they are the part of your body that should be doing the movement. Again, it can be very easy to let another part of your body come in and help out because a certain body part's getting tired, but we don't want that to happen. You've just got to persevere and push through it. Now, speed is the thing that becomes a little bit different. We're not necessarily aiming to increase the speed on our at-home workouts because the machines aren't there to provide that resistance. So if we go faster at home and we've got nothing to push against it and build the resistance, then it's not going to make it harder. So with the at-home workouts, our goal is to sort of go a little bit slower, allow those muscles to be contracted, to have more strain put upon them, really. So the slower you go with a bicep curl, the more that muscle is going to have to keep contracting and start feeling it and get tired. If you're doing this, it's not having any chance to tire out. It really isn't, because you essentially, if you've got a weight, you're going to be using the momentum of that to do the movement, and your muscle isn't really going to do much. So speed is the difference, the big difference, really. That is the thing that we have to make sure that you're taking it nice and steady, and you're allowing those muscles to have chance to contract. Now, with things like squats, they can be very similar to the machines in that we're still aiming to go down slowly and then come up just that little bit quicker, because you've got that instant pulse of the glutes, especially doing that move, and it's going to really work them. You can go slow up as well if you wanted to. That is just a move that will benefit either way, providing you do keep it nice and steady on the way down. And then if you do come up quick, be careful of your knees, obviously. Same as if we're on that squat machine. We don't want to snap the knees back. So there are the similarities and differences between the circuit and at-home workouts, but the aim is the same. So you're still aiming to feel a little bit weaker in the muscles towards the end of the 30 seconds. They're feeling a bit jellified. You literally, as you see with when I do squats, if I do pulses and stuff, I'm like, trying to get back up because my muscles have just worked beyond where they need to be or where they're accustomed to. They're tired. So that extra little push to get myself stood back up is hard for them. And that's fine. That's what we're aiming for. It's not always about being completely tired like that either. As long as you feel like your muscles are going beyond a little bit more than what they used to, that's still going to work. That's still going to make them build their strength, build up, get bigger, all that good stuff. You don't literally have to get to the state that I always get in, because everyone has their different levels. Everyone has their own ability. It's just as long as you're starting to feel them working, you feel those areas that we point to, that we tell you, get a little bit weaker, then we're all good. That's what we're aiming for. I hope that makes sense. So I'll go through a little bit more as well. So over time, what you'll probably realise is that you're able to perform more repetitions, that you are able to hold a squat a little bit longer than you could before, because your muscles have grown, they've gotten stronger. It's a little bit easier for you to do 5 burpees and then you start getting tired. Things like that. Like these are all evidence to show that those muscle groups are growing, are getting stronger, and this is what we're aiming for. And yeah, like, it's good. It's all good stuff. And it just means consistency's there, determination's there, definitely, and that you are doing it right. You're getting the right muscle groups. You are really focused. It's all about focusing. And your day-to-day activities might become a lot easier to do as well, honestly. Like, just going up the stairs, you might realise, I can run up 3 or 4 times and then I get tired. This is great. All evidence to stronger muscles, better cardio. That's another thing. When you're doing a workout, you might find that you're able to hold a conversation just that little bit longer before you start getting tired, and you're like, no, I can't talk, I need to breathe now. Or you might notice if your heart health is in a pretty healthy state before, that it might require a lot more effort for you to get your heart rate going a little bit higher. I know for me it takes a little bit longer for it to reach sort of my sort of 70% zone, for example. But then I noticed that my recovery rate is really quick. My heart rate comes back down to a normal rate quite fast. So that's a good positive. Your heart's able to recover quite well and deal with everything, and that's because of that consistency in your strength training. It's used to it, it's getting better. So yeah, all these are good stuff. Tick them away if you've noticed them. And yeah, that's basically covered all those ones, making sure I did cover them. Another thing you might notice is that you potentially might feel a little bit of muscle soreness the next day. Now, it shouldn't be painful, it shouldn't be extreme. It could just be like, you might try and, I don't know, lift up a bag of shopping, your arms a bit like, oh, I feel that. And that's because you've just done arms the day before and they're feeling it. Your shoulders are feeling it, like, oh, it's going to be a good soreness in a way. It's not, like I say, it shouldn't be extreme. If it's extreme, you're doing something wrong. If it's painful, you're definitely doing something wrong. So we need to be careful of that. And again, that will go back to your alignment and things. But that next day ache isn't necessarily a bad thing. I would just advise that you stretch a little bit longer in that area if you need to, things like that, just to help it just relax a little bit more. But that's another way to know if you are working hard enough, if you're feeling it, if you're doing what you should be doing, if you're working those muscles beyond they should be working. So that's basically everything I've got for you. I hope that has opened your eyes a little bit more, given you a bit more of an understanding on knowing how you've worked hard enough. It's getting to that point where you're feeling tired at the end of that 30 seconds, you have your 30 seconds metabolic conditioning, go back on, ready to work the next muscle group, and they can go, and then again, at the end of that 30 seconds, you start feeling tired, jellified. I like jellified, that's a good word. And then you'll know you've worked hard enough. That's what we're aiming for. So if you do have any other questions, it's one of those topics that's kind of easy to explain but difficult at the same time. So if you just need another way of me going through it, explaining the feelings, anything like that, just let me know. I can always book you in for a call, whatnot, just have a chat and go through it a bit more, because sometimes you might want to describe it in a different way, whatever it might be. Okay then, ladies, so I did promise it was going to be shorter. It's 4 minutes shorter, so not that much. Apparently I had more to say than I thought, but yeah, hopefully that's helped. You are learning a lot from these videos. Honestly, keep watching them. If you need to watch them a couple of times, do so. You need to learn as much as you possibly can to keep progressing, to keep succeeding in your health and fitness journey. The more you know, the better off you're going to be. So keep on learning, ladies, and I will see you for another video soon, I'm sure. Bye, ladies.